All right, here's a story. I could have told it before, but it's a good story anyway. And it's a true story. There were a group in Judaism. There's a thing called a shochet. A shochet is a ritual. They call it a ritual slaughterer. A ritual slaughterer. There's a lot of laws involved in how to kill animals before you eat them. Before they're eaten. First of all, not all animals can be eaten. Only by birds there's a very few, and by animals is even less, right? Only a sheep and a cow and a goat. But how to kill these animals is very, very complicated. And you have to have the knife. There's a lot of laws about how to do it with a knife and where to slaughter the animal and how to slaughter the animal. And then you can't weigh, you can't press the knife, you can't this. And also there's all the laws of after the animal's been slaughtered, you have to check the lungs sometimes, you have to check to see if there's something wrong with the animal. If it is, then it's not kosher. In general, if there's something wrong with the animal that he's sick, it's called treifa. And if there's something wrong with the slaughtering, it's called nevela, if it wasn't slaughtered properly. In any case, there's a lot of laws, and to learn them takes a while. And the people who do it are called shochatim. And especially there's shochatim, people who like to eat meat from cows, from sheep. There's not too many shochatim in Israel for cows. For cows. Why? Simply because if something goes wrong with the shchita, with the slaughtering, and the cow becomes disqualified, in Israel, you don't have that many people to buy it, and it's forbidden to sell not kosher meat to a Jew. Even if he's a non-religious Jew, you're not supposed to sell not kosher meat. So a lot of them, they go outside of Israel. They go outside of Israel, and there's big places where they slaughter in Argentina and I think in Brazil and other places. But they have these huge slaughtering houses, and they ritually slaughter, hundreds of cows every day, who knows what. And the ones that are not kosher, they sell to the non-Jews. And the ones that are kosher, so they prepare them properly, and then they ship them to Israel. Okay, so our story begins that there's a group of these shochatim. Let's say there's 50 of them, and there's this regular place where they go to. It's about an hour's drive from the town, from the city. And they go to this slaughtering place, Rio de Janeiro, whatever it is. They go there by bus, and and of course it's a big, huge complex, where they slaughter the animals, they prepare the meat, and they do this, and they wash the meat, and they go in. There's a guard at the door, and there's a big, a guard. You just can't go in and out. So that's what they do every day. They wake up like really early in the morning, and they work until, who knows, 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. And then they go back and they rest up the rest of the day, and they sit and they learn, or they do whatever. So one day they finish their job, and they're all coming back. So they going, and the guard is sitting on the door, and he doesn't open up the gate. And the guard is opening. They go by they go by the guard's room, and they get up to the gate. Right, this is after they pass the guard. The guard doesn't open the gate. And so they say, what's going on? One of them says in Spanish, I guess they understood Spanish. It said, "Que pasa? What's going on?" Or whatever it is. I guess in Brazil, it's Portuguese. He says, "What's going on?" The guard says, "I'm not opening up the door." So he doesn't open the door, and they can't figure. They don't understand much Spanish. He doesn't understand Yiddish or whatever they're speaking. And so finally, they find somebody. They go back and they get the manager of the place. They talk to this guy's a maniac. He won't open up the door. We want to open up the gate. We've been standing here for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And so the manager goes up and he asks the guard, "Why don't you open up the gate for them?" He says, "Because there's someone is missing. One of them is missing." So they say, what type of a nut is this guy? How does he know someone's missing? First of all these are religious Jews, and they all have beards. They look more or less the same, and they also, when they come there, they're all dressed the same. They put on their, the religious Jews dress pretty much the same anyway. They all have black coats and everything. He says, come on, how could he possibly know who is, he says, "I'm not opening the door. One person is missing." So someone says, "Listen, we got to get rid of this guy. Let's make a count. We'll count." So they count, and there's like 50 shochatim. They say, "Sure enough, there's only 49." And they count again. Someone's missing. So they look around and they say, "Shmerel is missing." One of the shochatim was a quiet sort of a guy. and he didn't talk very much. He was not really noticeable. And so, they didn't notice that he wasn't there. Everybody figured he was at another part of the group in the back and the front. So they said, hey, let's go back and see what happened. So they went, of course, first of all, they checked in the bathrooms. Is he okay? And they checked it over here. Maybe he went to sleep. Maybe he was tired. They checked in the room. No, it's not there. They're checking and they're checking. They're starting to get worried. Finally, somebody says, I found him. Where they found him, they come in quick. He calls everybody in. He went into the one of the huge refrigerator rooms that they have there. For some reason or other, he went in there and he must have slipped and fallen and hit his head. And he was unconscious and he was almost frozen to death. So they took him out and they brought the medic that they had with them, and they brought him back to life. But he had only been there for, I don't know, 15 minutes or something like that, however long it was. And they brought him back to life, and they massaged him, and they did everything they were supposed to do, and they bundled him up, and they said, okay, we'll take him back to see if he's all right. And they all said thank you very much to the guard. And somebody said, wait a second, how did you know? I mean, are you some sort of a genius? Or you just have an amazing talent that you can know numbers. There's some people that can do that, right? They can look at a number, they can tell exactly how many toothpicks are there, how many matches. So he said, no, I'm not. So they said, how did you know? He said, well, every morning when you people come here, as everybody files by, there's one fellow that always says to me, good morning. And when you leave, he always says to me, goodbye, waves to me, goodbye. He said, today, he said good morning when I came in, but he didn't say goodbye. Everybody passed by my guard house, and got to the gate, and I was waiting for him. He didn't come. So I was, that he was missing. So they said to him, this person, is that true? So he said, yeah, it's true. Every morning I say good morning to him, and I say, so they said, all the other shochatim, they're all busy, with the things, they're talking to each other. What do they care about the guy sitting up there? So they said, that's pretty, where did you learn to do a thing like that? Do you always do that? Generally speaking, he was a very quiet person. He wasn't very friendly or anything like that. He said, to tell you the truth, once I saw a video of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I saw people going by him, and he gave everybody $1. He would give, it was on Sundays, people would go by the Rebbe, and he would give everybody $1 or two, and he would say, this $1 is for charity. You can change it. You can keep the $1 if you want to, but you have to give $1 to someone for charity or more to encourage people to give. That was the thing. So he said, I watched this video and I was very amazed, how the Rebbe took out from his time. I read some of the things of the Rebbe, and he was a tremendous, amazing genius in learning Torah and holiness. And he had time for all these people going by him, and I thought to myself, a genius in learning Torah, I'm not that big of a genius, and getting out by other people and doing good. But to give people attention, making people feel good, that I can do. So every time I go by a person, if the person looks at me, I say hello. That I learned from the Rebbe, to give, attention, a good feeling to everybody that I go by. And that's how it ended up that saved his life. So we have to understand that sometimes warming up other people and giving other people a good feeling, God will give us a good feeling and warm us up. Have a good day with Mashiach now. See you tomorrow at 8:15.